welcome to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I think for the first time ever, I'm about to attempt to record a video where I am slightly inebriated. I did go for a Christmas lunch today. Shout out to Shenners and Fergie. Thanks for making it such an enjoyable time. I wasn't intending to have very much to drink at all, but in the end I did, which was probably a mistake because I'm now faced with solving W pentominoes by Sam Kappelman-Lyons in a remarkably short amount of time. And as you'll know, if you've ever tried one of Sam's puzzles, they tend not to be desperately straightforward, but they are rather marvellous. So I'm looking forward to giving this a go, albeit with some trepidation. And in fact, I should show you, look, this, because it was Christmas, I don't know if you can see that. Look, I've got a very festive tie on today. Now, the other thing I need to do at the start of this video is, of course, to apologise. And why do I need to apologise? Well, this is a subject of some sorrow for me. This was the very end of yesterday's puzzle, staggered by the Cogito. Incredible puzzle, and it beat me up well and truly. But after about 45 minutes of solving, I reached this position and was absolutely broken-hearted to see what I thought was a deadly pattern in the grid. And I then remembered there was a negative constraint in the puzzle, and I alighted on this 4 and thought, 4, that tells me this square, and I said it can't be a 9. Well, the problem is that 4 in this column in yesterday's puzzle was indexing the 1s, of course, as about 1,000 people have been very keen to point out to me in various shades of delicacy. Some of you very kind, some of you rather more strident. But what I should have done, of course, is to note that really the thing that will differentiate the 8s and 9s is the 6 in this column, because this if there was a 9 here, this would have been read as a correct clue. It's not read, so it was an incorrect clue, and that means this square here had to be an 8 and that had to be a 9, which is not the way round that I put it. So after about 2,500 videos of Cracking the Cryptic, yesterday is, I think, the first time that Mark or I have actually finished with an incorrect solution. Certainly that's to my knowledge anyway. I'm very sorry to the setter. I didn't mean to do it, as you can probably gather. And yeah, I'm very embarrassed, and sorry to all you guys who must have got to the end of the puzzle and thought, what is he doing? Well, it was simply, simple madness. What can I say? I'm sorry. Anyway, let's get back to Sam's puzzle. I hope I will do better today. I will try to do better today, I promise you. And I should read you the rules. Oh no, before I do that, the thing I should do is to just give a quick plug to what we've got coming up. If you're a patron of the channel over on Patreon, we have got the best Christmas gift coming up for you in a few days' time. The Pyramid Hunt. Now, hang on a sec, I have to find this. There you go. I found the thumbnail, and you can see some of the puzzles that you'll be able to solve in this hunt. There's puzzles, there's Sudoku, there is all sorts of stuff. Let me tell you, it is an absolute masterpiece. This. It is going to take you hours and hours if you make your way through it to the end, and they will be hours in which you will, well, experience great delight if you're anything like Mark and me. We absolutely love this. So yeah, that's coming up on Patreon in a few days' time. Right, now let's get to W pentominoes. I'll read you the rules. We have got normal Sudoku rules apply. In cages, digits must sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage. Digits cannot repeat within a cage. So this is just a normal killer Sudoku of all things, a rare thing to find on Cracking the Cryptic nowadays, but it's by Sam, so we know it's going to be awesome. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And actually, I can see that the W pentominoes in this grid are all immediately interesting, because I know what the contents is of each of these pentominoes, which I'm struggling to keep the surprise out of my voice, but it is true. That must be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. That must be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the other end of the spectrum, so this has got to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that has got to be 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, for there is only one way to make each of these totals within 5 cells. Okay, now I can immediately see something about this box now, because none of these cells is a 7, 8 or a 9. So there must be a 7, 8, 9 in the diagonal of this box, and I guess, yeah, okay, it works the other way around in box 9 where we've got 1s, 2s, 3s on the diagonal. Now what do we do? Well, if we think about it, these 6 cells are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 in some order. So the 6 within this sextuplet is definitely in those 3 cells. So neither of those cells can be a 6. And that must work symmetrically with 5s. Where is the 5 in this sextuplet? It must be in these 3 cells. So we can't repeat 5 in the cage down here. So now we've got... Yeah, okay, this is interesting. I don't know if it matters, but it... Yeah, well, these 4 cells here that I've highlighted are a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple. And we know that because well, basically because we do. Let's imagine we try and repeat a digit in one of these cells. If we had 2 1s, then you wouldn't be able to put a 1 anywhere in box 1, and that will not work. So we have to make sure these digits are all different, and therefore they must be a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple. Now that means that square has got to be 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9. And probably we can do something similar, because this is there's such symmetrical logic in the bottom right hand corner. Let's just see if we can do the same thing. So this is a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruple. The 4 in that quadruple, sextuplet, the 4 must be there, so there's no 4 here. The 5 must be here, so there's no 5 here. Yes, okay, so this square sees a 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruple and must be a 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. Now what do we do? Now we now we struggle to do anything. There's got to be a 1 in an 8 cage. Let's put that in. Is that helpful? The answer is no. Oh, no. Well, that isn't helpful. But 13 plus 8 is 21, and I can use the secret on this box. So the secret, of course, and I only tell this to very special people, is that every complete box, or indeed every complete row or column of a Sudoku, adds up to a very special number, and that number is 45. And that's because every complete correct box of a Sudoku contains the digits 1 to 9 once each. So in this box here, well, we're going to have the numbers 45, but we've got a 13 cage and an 8 cage adding up to 21. So these 6 cells add to 21, which means those 3 cells add to 24, and they are 7, 8 and 9, therefore. It's the only way of getting to 24 in 3 cells. So we have a 7, 8, 9 staircase here, and a 7, 8, 9 staircase here. And we're all okay. And you can't put a 6. Ah, yeah, hang on, this is interesting. You can't put a 6 in an 8 cage, so there must be a 6 in the 13 cage. And that 6, look, it finds a friend in this triomino in box 1. So what we should ask now is, where does the 6 go in row 3 of the grid? Because we know it's not in those 4 cells. We know it's not in these 3 cells. So it is exactly in this domino. Which is nearly very interesting, but perhaps not. Ah, so this 9 cage is now not 3 and 6. Okay, that's not doing anything, is it? Okay. I don't think that's doing anything. I may be wrong, but I'm not immediately seeing how to make use of that. Oh, this is a worry now. So now we've got... Which of these other Oh, maybe I could do the same trick on box 7. We've got 22 in those cells. Yes, so these 3 cells add up to 23. So they're 6, 8 and 9. So we've got staircases of high digits appearing in 3 of the corner boxes. 7, no, you can put 7 in the 10 cage if it was 712, or indeed you could put 7 in the 12 cage with either 714 or 723. Wow. Wow. Okay. I'm not terribly surprised I'm stuck on Sam's puzzles. Sam's puzzles are always very interesting. And how do we do this then? How do we do this? We shall say that... What do we know about these cages? We know that... Yeah, okay, we can do some more geometry trickery, I think, in box 1. And that's because... Yeah, this 16 cage and this 15 cage have an awful lot of digits in common. They have in common the digits 1, 2, 3 and 4. So... no, what I was about to say then is not going to work. I was about to make an argument that I could identify... Oh, I can! Yes, I can! Yeah, this works. It works, but I didn't complete the logic in my mind, but I've now managed to complete it. Here we go. This square. Where does this square go in box 1? This is really beautiful, actually. You have to appreciate that these 4 squares are different in order to make this work. Now, once you've appreciated these 4 squares are different, where does this 1, 2, 3 or 4 go in the 15 cage? It can't go here, because we've already looked at what happens if there are 2 digits the same in these 4 cells. So it must be in one of these 3 cells, which means it must be there, and therefore this little square is no longer a 5. Whoa, 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 no longer a 5, because this isn't a 5. So these 2 digits are the same, which means now we have a purple up here in the 13 cage. Okay, I don't know what to do with that, but what I am going to do is I'm going to keep going with this logic, because now I can do exactly the same with this cell. Where does this cell go in the 16 cage? For it must be in there. It's a 1, 2, 3 or a 4. Well, it can't repeat in these cells, and it can't repeat by Sudoku in these 2 cells. So those 2 cells are the same. Which means that square is not a 6. And it means that down here we've got a green in the 10 cage. Yeah, okay. I'm not sure how useful this is. But now this cell has the same... it's a bit less potent. But this cell, let's make this blue, has to appear... It still has to appear in the 16 cage for it's a 1, 2, 3 or a 4. And it's not the same as purple and it's not the same as green. So it's not here, because otherwise there'd be 2 blues in these 2 cells and then you couldn't put a blue in box 1. So it's in one of those 2 cells, which means it's also in one of these 2 cells. Note that this cell cannot be a 6. So whichever one of these is blue is not a 6. In fact, okay, yeah, no, hang on. I've just noticed I've now got the 6 in one of these 2 squares in box 1 because I managed to eliminate it from that square. So that means that square is not a 6. And I've got 2 relatively low digits in here. Oh, that's actually really annoying, because at a minimum they could be a 1 and a 2, but at a maximum they could be a 3 and a 4. Which means this square here has got quite a lot of optionality. It's 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7, which is horrible. Okay, well let's repeat that trick with the final square of this foursome. That square's got to be, well it doesn't have to be orange, but I am going to make it orange. Therefore orange must live in these 2 squares of the 15 cage, and therefore, yeah, this square is definitely not capable of being orange anymore. So we have an orange-purple domino here, made up of the digits 1, 2, 3 and 4, which means this square, even if these were maxed out at 3 and 4, this square would have to be... Oh, that's it! Oh, that's so strange. Let me just double check this. If I max these out, which would be a 3-4 pair, this square has to be a 6 still, or higher, because I can make these smaller, but that's going to make this bigger, but that can't be bigger because the 7, 8, 9 are gone. So that is a 6. This is a 3-4 pair, which means if this is a 3-4 pair, these are a 3 and a 4, this is a 3 or a 4, and one of these is a 3 or a 4, but we don't know which one. But that's definitely progress, because now this 8 cage is 1, 2, 5, and that means don't know what that means, but at least I feel that was a breakthrough. That actually felt like that was sensible. Oh, and this 6 is doing for a 6 in that cell, so now I can place a 6 here, and that's beautiful because now blue is not that square, so blue is this square. Okay, now of course this being a 3-4 pair means these two squares become a 1-2 pair. Oh, this is so clever. Good grief. So that means because they're green and blue, those two become a 1-2 pair. These become a 3, 4 and 5. I've now got... Oh, look at this. I've now got a 3, 4, 5 triple in row 3, knocking 5 out of these squares, placing 5 here. Oh, yeah, and now I've got a 1-2 pair looking down at the 10 cage, so that's a 1-2 pair. This is a 7. That's not a 7 anymore. 7s don't live in those cells. These squares are now known. They've got to be 3, 4 and 5, adding up to 12. And that's not... might not be resolved. I'm not sure. Ooh, yeah. There's a virtual 3, 4, 5 triple in box 1. Sorry, in column 1, because there must be a 3, 4 or a 5 in a 12 cage in order to make a domino add up to 12, because it's either 3, 9, 4, 8 or 5, 7. Okay. Not sure how to make use of that now. So I suppose this 9 cage now is not 3, 6 and it's not 4, 5. So this is either 2, 7 or 1, 8. And I see there's now a virtual 1, 2 pair in row 1. And yes, oh, of course. Okay, where's 5 go in box 2? That's the sensible question. It can only go there. Once it's locked out of the 9 cage, and it is because we can't put 4 in it, we can place the 5, which means this square's not a 5. And now, for our next trick, we will... Well, what I'm tempted to do is to repeat all of this logic for these 4 cells. But maybe we don't need to do that. 6 can be ruled out of those cells. So 6 is... No, 6 is not perhaps as restricted. 7? Oh no, for some reason... I think I've already removed the 7s from those squares. 5s? No. 5... Oh, yeah, hang on, 5, look. 5 is in one of these 3 cells, and 5's in one of those 3 cells. So where does 5 go in row 9? One of these 2 cells, exactly one of these 2 cells. Now, if this was 5, that would be 6. That might be possible, actually. Okay, so let us... Right, let's have a look at these cells then. Is there some way we can do exactly what we did up here? So the logic is... Yeah, the logic is that these are 4 different digits. So let's make that one red. Now, where does red go in the 35 cage? Because we know it must be in there, because the 35 cage definitely contains the digits 6, 7, 8 and 9. We know it's not here. We know it's not there, so it's one of those 2 cells, which means red, which is a high digit, and it could be a 7. Oh no, that's actually useless. That is really disappointing. It can be either of these two digits, so we don't know. Bobbins. Oh, I know what I should have done. I should have chosen this cell first, because that cell has the same property, except it is fixed in box 9. That cell, yeah, let's look at this one. Where does it go in the 35 cage? Not here, not here. So that's yellow. So this, right, this square cannot be a 6. So this square can't be a 6. And this square can't be a 5. So that square can't be a 5. So these two are 7, 8, or 9. And they end up down here as well. So this is a red-yellow pair. And for that reason, the digits available for red and yellow are the digits 7, 8, and 9, not 6. So that's not 6. But we don't know which of these is red. Golly, that feels incredibly close to being valuable, but I'm not quite seeing how to make use of that. Let's try these two as well. So this one's going to be the more interesting, I suspect. We shall make that one. What digits have we not used yet? Or what colours, I should say. Unfortunately, we're wading through the colours at a rate of knots. I'll make this grey. So grey has to go here in the 34 cage. So that's immediately interesting. There's no way this can be a 4, because this can't be a 4. In fact, there's no way this can be a 7 for that same reason. So these are grey, 6, 8, or 9. So they have to go in one of those two squares by Sudoku. But I don't know if we know which one. And this one, on the other hand, which I'll have to make black. Is that going to show up? Oh, yeah, it does show up. That's in one of those two cells. And that must be in one of these two squares as well. So this is sort of a black-grey combination, which is appalling. But this isn't great, actually, because these have the options between them of being 6, 7, 8, and 9, which is what's in here. And one of these is therefore limited to 6, 7, 8, or 9, but I don't know which one. Ah, I know one thing I can do here. Let's make use of the 10 cage. The 10 cage must have a high digit in it, by which I mean a digit that is a 6, 7, 8, or 9, because it can't be double 5. So it has sort of the property that one of its digits is relatively high, a 6, 7, 8, 9. One of them is low, a 1, 2, 3, or 4. Now, whichever digit here is a high digit is going to actually form a quadruple with those 4 cells on the digits 6, 7, and 8, and 9 in the column. So there's no way this square can be a 7, 8, or a 9, and that square has become a 5. And that square is therefore not red. That is beautiful. It's not red because if it's red, it needs to be the same as this digit, which it can't now be. So that's not red. This is red. It's therefore not 6, I should say. So this is now hang on. So now this digit. So right, yeah, okay. So this digit now needs to find a home in box 3. Where is it? Well, it's not in those squares by Sudoku. It's not the same as 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2. It can't be black or grey, because if it was black or grey, this red digit would have repeated in its 35 cage, which it cannot do. So it's that digit. So that is red, which means red is in one of those 3 cells. And is therefore in the 10 cage. Because if it wasn't in the 10 cage, I couldn't put a high digit in the 10 cage for all the reasons we were just talking about. So there is a red in the 10 cage. It's almost, look, it's almost got to be this digit. If we could eliminate 3 from this top cell, it would have to be this digit, because we couldn't make this a high digit and have this be a low digit. I mean, one of the things I'll just comment on now is how clever these setters are to make killer Sudoku puzzles still that are, you know, they're so interesting. I mean, this feels like a new puzzle because the logic is so fresh. And this is a puzzle I thought I was quite good at. I thought I understood killer Sudoku. Now, what does this mean? That's the next thing we're going to have to grapple with, isn't it? Can we do anything with the 11 cage down here? 3, 4. So 1 high digit, 1 low digit. And then we're still going to need another low digit in here. So this square here is a 1, 2, 3 or 4. Because all the high digits have gone. But we haven't got a clue what it is. So probably, he says with some trepidation, I don't actually know where we look now. Is it this 12 cage? That's the only cage, well, and the 11 cage. The 12 cage and the 11 cage are the only cages I've not really focused on. Yeah, it is. It is, isn't it? Because, of course, one sensible question I should have asked ages ago is where is the low digit in the 12 cage, which is a bit like noting that this red and this red have to be sharing cells. The 12 cage here must have this digit in it from the 15 cage, because we know the 12 cage contains a 3, 4 or a 5. We know the 15 cage contains a 3, 4 and 5, and the only common digit there is this one. So this digit and this digit are this, well, there's one digit in here that's the same as this digit, and that digit then goes in there in the 12 cage beneath it. Now the problem here is, how do I actually notate this? I think I'm going to have to use even more colours to do this, because I don't think I can assume this is orange, can I? Because I don't know. Orange is related to sort of horizontal logic. And noting that there's a 3 or a 4 in one of these two squares, but I don't know which one it is. So I think I'm going to have to use a new colour. I use the only colour I've got left, which is light grey. So light grey has to go in there. I can hardly even see that. I hope some of you can see it. It really doesn't seem to show up very well for me. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I know I'm saying okay a lot. Okay. I feel like Joe Pesky. I can do the same with the 9 cage, can't I? I think. The 9 cage I know has a 1 or a 2 in it. And that 1 or a 2 must live in the 16 cage, and therefore it must be blue. So there is definitely a blue in that cage. And that means there's definitely, well, we could have said that anyway, there's a blue in this cage. Is that in some way useful? I don't think it is. I don't think it is, actually. I know that this is a blue-green combo. I know green lives in one of those two cells. Right, so we're going to have to think about, can we really do the same thing with the 11 cage down here? So the 11 cage, well, the 11 cage is not 4, 7, I can see that. So it's either 5, 6, which would share a 6 with this cage, 3, 8, which would share an 8, or 2, 9. Yeah, okay, so there is a digit. Yes, there is a common digit between the 11 cage and the 34 cage. In fact, that's very interesting. I will just note for a moment that even if this 7 had not been in the grid, I would have known this 11 cage was not 4 and 7, because if it had have been, you couldn't have put 4 and 7 in that 34 cage, because this cell would simultaneously have had to be 4 and 7. So this cage here is that digit. Right, and we know that's not 7 or 4, don't we? So this is 6, 8 or 9. Ah, so where does 4 now go? Yeah, that must be good logic, I think. We know this digit and this digit are the same. We can't put 4 in there, so we can't put 4 in here. We can't put 7 in there, so we can't put 7 in there. So this is now 6, 8 or 9, and it's actually the same as that digit. So these 3 digits are equivalent. And you can see now there is a because this digit is definitely in this 11 cage, 6, 8 and 9 are a virtual triple in this row, and that square cannot be any of those digits and has to be a 4. And that means it is not, yes, this is it. That's great, because I don't have to rely on the fact I've only got 9 colours. This is now not the black digit, because the black digit is clearly not able to be 4, so that loses its coloration. The black digit is therefore this digit, which now can't be a 7, because it has to be the same as this cell. Oh, you rotten thing, but we still can't differentiate it up here. Wow. But now I've coloured all the high digits in box 9, and I've coloured almost all the high digits in that box, so that's yellow. Yellow must be in one of those 2 cells. This is incredibly clever and interesting, but not easy. Surely not easy. So there's another low digit in these digits, but... Okay. So if I know that this is a black digit, I know that... Yes, yeah, okay, now I can place that digit in box 7. Where does it go? We know this digit is not red or yellow, so it's not there. It's not here by Sudoku. It can't be in any of those squares. They're not high digits, so it's exactly there. Which means there's a black digit in one of these cells. And this digit... problem is this could be a 6. Let me just think about this for a moment or two. This felt a lot more productive, actually. I have to say, this felt a lot more productive. You've got this diamond pattern here. Can I not get that diamond pattern there? Is there some reason this cell has to be a 5? That's the question I'm now asking myself. Because the logic has been very symmetrical so far. I don't know. I've got a suspicion this square is a 3 or a 4, but it's no more than that. I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quintuple in row 3. So these squares are from 6, 7, 8 and 9. I know that that is not red or yellow, so it is either black or grey. Yeah, that's interesting as well. So whatever this cell is, we know it's a black or a grey. Its partner is here in box 3, because we know its partner can't be red or yellow because it is itself not red or yellow. So those 2 digits are the same. But if that's true, it's a 6. Have I got that right, or is that completely nuts? Is that true? If it's true, it feels like a big breakthrough. Let's just go through that again. This digit here is definitely not red and yellow. So it must be black or grey. It must be. And once it's black or grey, its partner must be there, but it cannot be here because that's in the same row as it. So it is there. And that's because, well, we've already talked about it can't be red or yellow. I think this is a 6. That's big, because now this is not a 6. And well, we now know that that square is black or grey. Actually, I still think I've got to be careful here, because I still don't know which of these is 6. I don't know which of these is the 6. I just know that this one has been proved to be 6. But I don't, that's the problem. I think in my brain I thought I'd worked out whether it was black or grey. I just know it's black or grey, if you see what I mean. I know those things sound the same, but I don't think they are quite. Okay, so probably there might be more we can do here regarding... Can we... If this was the same as those, well, we know that this... no, I think it's just in one of those two cells. I don't think I know which one. I've got a horrible feeling that there's a simple thing I can do here that's... I'm just not quite spotting it. Now, what I can say now is that these two squares are red and yellow in some order. And obviously whatever that is the opposite of this one. So that one is the same as this one. No, I don't see how to use that. Okay. How much of this slowness is alcohol induced? You will have to let me know. I don't think this is that straightforward. Ah, yes it is. There's a 5 here. So that's a 5. Ah, no it's not. That still doesn't do anything. It eliminates 3 from that square. Oh, it really doesn't do anything. So that means these two squares now are the same as these two squares. So this is a purple orange pair. But I don't think that's quite good enough, is it? Still don't think I know what goes in that K. I've got a horrible feeling again. It's just something nagging at me here, which says that once I know this, I somehow know what this is. I can't see how to do it, you know, with clean logic. 3 and 4 are getting quite restricted. Oh, 4 is incredibly restricted. Where does 4 go in this box? It can only go in one cell. So now, oh, okay, that's interesting. These 3-4 dominoes are plonking a 3 into the same positions I had 5s in down here. So this is now a 3-5 pair. That's not a 3. 3 in this box has to go there. Ah, and that's beautiful. That is beautiful because now this 3 sees that 3-4 pair at the top. Which means that's not a 3. 3 is in this domino along with yellow. This 10 cage is now no longer able to be 3-7. So it's either 1-9 or 2-8. So we've got almost... Ah, okay, so where does 4 go in this column? Only there, that's the only cell it can go in now. It's sort of a hidden single. This square's not 4. 7 is in one of those two cells. But we know 7 is either red or yellow, so one of these is a... Ah, yeah, 7 is red or yellow, so that's not a 7. Oh, and 3 and 5 are not the same as black. And black must be in one of those 3 squares, so that we can get rid of the black from these two. Black goes here with 6, 8 or 9. A partnering a 3 or a 5, which is... Oh no, 2 of them are possible. We're going to get rid of 9 from here. So, black square is no longer 9. We're down to 6 or 8. No, still resisting. Come on. Come on, little puzzle. How do we break you now? How do we do this? 4 has to be in this domino. Oh, this is just hella clever. It really is. It's so smart. Ah. Now, come on. You can't put a... yeah, okay. In the 35 cage, the 6 is in this domino. Now, 6 can't go in the 12 cage over there. So 6 is in one of 3 positions in box 4. Not this one. We've got a 6 above it. 6 is down to 2 positions in box 4. So if this is a 6, this is a 5. If this is an 8, this is a 3. That would put 3s here. Polonka 3 down there. I don't know. 5s. Let's have another look at 5s. I have a feeling we can do more with 5s. 5s are in that domino. 5s are down here. 5s are in this domino. I don't think that's quite enough again. What about this 12 cage? Let's come back to this. What do we know about this? The 12 cage must have this digit in it. Is there anything ruled out of this 12 cage yet? The answer is, I think, no. I might be wrong about that, but I don't actually see how to reduce its options. So the 12 cage can be 3, 9, 4, 8 or 5, 7. And whatever it is, its partner goes in there. But if it was a 4, that would be a 4. If it was a 3, this would be a 3. If it was a 5, this would be a 5. So all bets seem to be on the table there. Ah, red is in here, is it? Yes, so red is not 7 anymore. Oh, that's lovely. That's it. Okay, sorry. So, let's have a look at... By something, I've no idea what it was, but red over here doesn't seem to be able to be 7 because it can't have a 3 in it. Now, red is definitely by Sudoku forced in here. So that means we can get rid of 7 from those. We've now got 6, 8, 9 here. The only square that can be 7 in the 35 cage is the yellow one, which gives us a 7 here. That tells us this is yellow. That tells us this is red. Red is an 8 or a 9. Yellow is in this domino, so that domino, well, that's a 7. And this is a 3-7 pair. And that means... I don't know what it means, but that feels like it's a breakthrough of some significance. What that significance is, I don't know. This square's not 7, so that square's not 2. We must be able to do more with this. We just must. Red, here we go. Here's another bit of beautiful logic. Where does red go in this box now? There are 2 red cells looking at this box. It has to go there. Which means, it doesn't mean red is forced. Red is in one of those 3 cells, but it doesn't have to be in the 12 cage. Red, what about red? Yes, what about, where is red in box 2? It's got to be there by Sudoku, so this square is not a red anymore. And this is so perfect, because now red is in one of those cells. I've seen the light. I have seen the light. The great beacon light of hope is upon us, to slightly misquote Martin Luther King Jr. Yes. Okay. Now I ask where yellow goes in this box. Yellow has to be on top of blue. This is a yellow-blue pair, and it involves our old friend the 7. Because once this square can't be yellow, yellow is forced up here. Now, if this is a 7, it's a 2-7 pair. And if it's a 2-7 pair, we know which is which. So actually I can do those two things. That's the first things we can do. That square becomes yellow. And blue is now a 2. So all sorts of things are going to flow from this. In particular, we now know the nature of green, which is a 1. There's probably more we can do with this, but let me just show you what else I noticed in a second. I'm just trying to see whether there's anything else really simple I can get out of that. I can't see anything. But this one too, we're looking at the red cells over here. This top cell can't be the 1 or the 2 in the 10 cage, which means that this is the 1 or the 2. So this is a 1 or a 2, which means it is either green or blue. This must be the red cell, so those two lose their ability to be red. And if these two lose their ability to be red, we have now managed to get red in the 12 cage. Now that means there's an 8 or a 9 in the 12 cage, along with a 3 or a 4. And that means in this column, the 3, 4, 5 triple, which is existing virtually within these 4 squares, the only place 5 can go in that is there, which means one of these two cells is a 5. It means this is not a 5, which means it... yeah, and this was... So that is not ever... That's not capable of being orange anymore, which means this is orange. And once this is orange, this square must therefore be purple. This square must itself be orange. And now orange is needed in here. So why did I have grey in here? Oh, I had grey in here because I've just overwritten my grey. Grey, grey, and grey was in one of these two. Well, I've now worked out that the thing that was in here was in fact in exactly this square. So I can get rid of the grey here. It's no longer necessary. This is an orange-red domino. I'm sure that means something fairly obvious, but I can't see what it is. Come on now, let's see if we can finish this off. I think we're gradually and slowly meandering our way through it. I've got these squares here. Oh, yeah, okay, there's a naked single here. What's that square? Or have I misjudged this? I've got a 6, 8, 9 triple. I've got 7s here and 4 here. So these 3 squares are a 1, 2, 5 triple. I haven't misjudged it. If they're a 1, 2, 5 triple, this square can't be a 1 or a 2. That is a 5. So this is now also a blue-green domino. 5 is the world's most useless. This is the most useless digit in Christendom. It really is. It's not done anything. Okay. Oh, you're rotten. Oh, all right. I'm now going to ask where 4 goes in row 4, which is a fairly bizarre question. But don't forget there's a virtual 3-4 pair in those cells, so it's not here. It's not here because of this 3-4 pair. It's not here because of this 4. And it's in none of those cells, so it can only go there. And that is the second most useless digit in Christendom. These squares are now... I don't know. I'm getting confused with all my colours now. Reds. I've got reds and yellows all over the place. Can we do more with yellows? Yes, I can note that this square is a yellow, can't I? It's the only place yellow can go in box 1. So that becomes a 7. That, therefore, is a 7. That feels important because that's forcing a 6 and a 5 in the box as well. And that yellow is fixing the yellow 7 here and the 3 above it. So yellow is now forced out of these squares and into exactly this one, removing yellow from that square, removing red from this square. This is now red, and therefore that is not red, and that therefore is orange and is not 8 or 9. And this is red, and is not 3 or 4, and is not orange. And reds are now placed around the grid, but we still don't know the nature of red. We know its approximate nature, but not its actual core. This square is a 6, 8, or a 9. I think that probably means it's got to be black or grey, but I'm not certain. That square's not a 7. Yeah, this square's black or grey, isn't it? And it doesn't seem to be able to be black, so does that mean this square is grey? That might be true, and I have a feeling this is the sort of logic that I've been missing here. I think it very much, the smoothness of this solve depends on how you colour and whether you colour well. And I feel like I've missed a few opportunities. That square's a 1 or a 2, I've just noticed, by the power of... And that square's a 1 or a 2 by the power of nothingness. Or I should say Sudoku, but you know what I mean. This square's got to be a 6, 8, or a 9. I've got a 6, 8, 9 triple in column 5 now. That might be interesting. So I've got to place 1s, 2s, 3s, and 5s in this column. So this square is a 1 or a... Oh, that's a naked single, is it? I'm not sure I trust some of these deductions. They feel very hard to come by. I've got 1, 2, 3, and 5. So these squares are 1, 2, 3, or 5. That's definitely not 2. It's definitely not 5. And there's a 3 in the box, so that's a 1. So 1 comes out of these squares. There's got to be a 2 in this domino, so there's no 2 in that cell. This square now is definitely not blue or green, and it must now be 8 or 9. Seeing its friend, the red one down here, so I think it's got to be the same as this one, which has got to be the same as that one, but I still don't know what these are. Except I know that this is black, apparently. Is that right? I think it is right. It does seem to be black by virtue of that. So this square is grey. This square is therefore black. And that means that black is 6, which means these become grey. And if black is 6, then this is 6, and that's 6, and that's 6, and that's 6. And we can do those digits into these cells here. Whoopsie. And now that becomes a black 6. So this is a black 6 by the force of Sudoku. That's no longer a 6, therefore it's grey. Grey has to be in one of those cells, therefore it has to be in that top cell. Yeah, okay. That does look like it's working, doesn't it? And now, of course, this square needs to have a 5 accompanying it, which means this square's a 3. And hopefully, yeah, there we go. Now I've got a 2-3 pair here, which must be useful. He says, hoping. 1-2 pair here, so that's a 3, that's a 2. The 3, we don't know. We know that 3 is not yellow because 7 is yellow. 3, 3. So this is now a 4. Perfect. That gives us red. At last we know what red is. Let's click reds and click 8. Oranges have to be 4s. So that's orange. Which means that is purple. So purple is 3. 3, 3, 3, 4. That's got to be purple. That's got to be orange. That's got to be orange. That's got to be purple. That's now got to be purple. These two are both purple. Orange goes into this square. We should have a purple and an orange in every box of the grid, and I think that we do, apart from that one. Okay. And I see how it's going to... I think I now see how it's going to finish as well. That square's become a 9. Although that's... Yeah, and that grey is 9, isn't it? 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. That's got to be 9 by dint of Sudoku. So 9's going to those cells. 2s are blues, so we should make that so. This is a 1-5 combination. That's got to be the 1. That's got to be the 5. I don't know if we've ever coloured any of the 5s, but this seems to have to be blue. And how are we going to do the blues and greens? Oh, it's going to be this 10 cage, isn't it? Yeah, look at this 10 cage. It's fixing that cell, which fixes that cell, that cell, that cell, that cell, that cell. 2, 1, 2, 1. I do want to colour these somehow. I suppose I know. Yeah, okay. So I know that now the 1s are all the green cells. In fact, I've finished the puzzle. But I don't feel I've finished it until I actually do my colouring correctly. So let me do that. And we can see where we end up. So that's got to be green, that's got to be blue, that's got to be blue, that's got to be green. Now, have we got one colour for everything? No, we haven't. Have we got one colour for blues? That looks good. 3s, they all look like they've got a colour. 4s, 5s have no colour. 6s, 7s. You'll forgive me just checking or feeling like I've got to make sure after yesterday's debacle. Okay, there we go. I'm going to click tick. Yay, I did it. Sam, that was a really brilliant puzzle. That's not easy. A killer Sudoku with lots of devious trickery and some amazing geometry. And as I say, I think there will be people who say, oh, I did this in 20 minutes or something. And I think if you did, I'll be interested to hear on whether you picked a slightly different way of colouring the grid than I did. I don't think I got the most efficient way through that. But I did find a way to logically solve it, and from that I take great satisfaction. Hope you enjoyed watching, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.